I guess Eric Adams is the so-called Brooklyn Biden after all. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the brand new mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, and some unearthed audio and video footage of him using some racial slurs in front of a mostly black audience to a smattering of applause, as a matter of fact. So the crowd, they're pretty much on board with it. He's on board with it. They're rocking and rolling. But the question is, why are the media not really covering his use of racial slurs? Is it because he's a wrong race to try and demonize? Is it because he has the liberal protection behind him? What's going on? Now, there's a lot of questions I want to ask and answer. But before we get to that, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see and hear what Eric Adams said. After we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
And now to an apology from Mayor Adams for an inappropriate comment he made in 2019 about white police officers.
The video was made public today, and CBS 2's political reporter Marcia Kramer investigated.
Although he apologized to New Yorkers late today, Mayor Adams tried to put the comment in context, saying he was responding to a question in which the inappropriate comment was used, and he repeated it as part of his answer.
Every day in the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable in the police department.
A furor tonight over the sudden posting on social media of a racially charged comment made by Eric Adams during a December 2019 appearance at the Harlem Business Alliance. The man who posted the video, Thomas Lopez Pierre of the Black Lives Matter real estate firm, told me that he purposely picked the clip he posted, which was in the middle of a half-hour appearance by the mayor.
Why did you pick that specific point to start your clip?
Because we live in a social media world, and I knew it would be attention grabbing.
Thomas Lopez Pierre also telling me he didn't release video of the appearance at the time because he thought it would hurt Eric Adams' chances of being elected mayor. He moved now, he said, because he thinks Adams has been spending too much time talking about hiring more cops and not about improving the economic health of minority communities.
All I've been hearing is cops this, cops that. You know, listen, black people have been getting killed. There have been more black people killed this year than police officers. Police officers decided to put on a uniform. They decided to take the risk.
Lopez Pierre, whose brother was killed by an off-duty cop during a carjacking, is no stranger to controversy. Running for city council in 2017, he tried to use $100,000 in taxpayer dollars taken from public campaign matching funds to spread anti-Semitic hate attacks against his opponent, Councilman Mark Levine. Late today, Adams apologized.
Inappropriate comments should not have been used. Someone asking me a question using that comment and playing on that word, I responded in that comment. But clearly, it's a comment that should not be used, and I apologize not only to those who heard it, but to New Yorkers, because they should expect more from me, and that was inappropriate.
The police unions are standing four square with Adams. Both the PBA and the detectives union say actions speak louder than words, and Adams' support for cops being shot and killed says it all.
The people who say, where's our real black leaders? They're going to say, listen, who's Eric? You know, why does Eric think he should be mayor? Well, Negro, you run. You run.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, there's a lot I want to say, and I'm not really sure where to begin. First things first, the elephant in the room for me is, let's just reverse the races. Let's just do it. Let's just say Eric Adams was a white man, and some of the slurs he was using, rather than them being directed towards whites, they're directed towards blacks instead. So if it's a white man using the N-word in front of a mostly white crowd, and they have a little smattering of applause, and there's no condemnation, and no tomato throwing, and no guy from the Apollo with the cane getting you off the stage, nothing like that. If everybody's pretty much on board with it, you on board with it, everybody's having a good time, that'd be a problem. That'd be a big problem, okay? We see what they do to Trump, or what they did to Trump during his time. He could say pretty much anything. He'll say, okay, I enjoy drinking Dr. Pepper, and they would call that particular drink racist. I mean, they would do stuff like that. Remember, there was this whole thing about milk somehow being racist. Like the actual milk you get from the grocery store, whole milk, skim milk, 2%, whatever you want to call it. your milk and your tea, your coffee. They were calling that racist because of one of these online forum threads that were trolling the mainstream media. So if they want to call a drink, a beverage racist, imagine what they would have done if this were a white man in Eric Adams' shoes using slurs against minorities rather than against whites. You already know what it would be. But because it's not the case, you have a black guy talking about saltiness and Negro this, all this and that. Is fine. It's totally fine. It's no big deal. So we see the immediate double standards. But this is typical for the left. As I always say, without double standards, they would have no standards. That's the first thing. But beyond that, I think this is just Eric Adams pandering because he knows he's in front of a mostly black crowd. So he wants to pander to them. Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of your black liberals, not us as conservatives really, but a lot of your black liberals, they like that kind of language. They like that they're racially charged stuff towards whites. But if you use it towards them, then they want to fold up and cry like never heard it before. Okay. Oh, you're using profanity, you're using these racial, you're using the N-word. They want to melt like complete snowflakes, right? But then when the same kind of energy and language is used toward the other side, then it's fine. It's kind of weird. It's like, all right, if you're using the weapon, then you got to understand it could be used on you as well. Develop a shield, develop thick skin, do something. Be like Thing from Fantastic Four and be able to, deflect some of those blows on your skin, right? That's what it should be, but they're not like that. They're soft when it comes to any kind of negativity towards them, but they are like raging, super fantastic warriors when it comes to using it against the other side. That's how they work. And Eric Adams knows that. So he goes out there and panders to them, trying to get elected. And that's something else, just to maybe address that elephant. Some of these videotapes, audio tapes, or whatever of people that are meant to, I guess, damage them or to show them in a negative light, they come out from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like when they dig up old tweets from people from 2009 and we're in the year 2022. It's like, come on, man, you went all the way back to somebody's childhood to dig up some dirt on them. I mean, come on, let's just stop the madness. But this is not an old tape. This is him recently. He's talking about becoming the mayor and all this and that and the third. And he just became mayor, like this year or late last year? He's a brand new mayor of New York City. So this is not an old tape. This is something that's relatively new. And he's probably like in his 50s, 40s, 50s, maybe 60s, something like that. I'm not sure how old he is. But he's old enough to know better than to use certain language. But in this case, it was fine because he black and he's a liberal and he's using it among other black folks. So it's all good. Okay. It's pandering to that particular audience because he knows they like it. It's the same way he pandered to the crowd in New York City that want to have safer streets. Because remember when he was running, he's talking about how dangerous it is in New York City, how Bill de Blasio pretty much let it go to waste and they need to kind of go back to law and order. He's a former NYPD officer, all this, that, and the third. He wants to get back to law and order. That was a thing that he ran on. I think everybody pretty much ran on that. And there was some optimism there. They're talking about Eric Adams, man. He might come in the office and change things around, bring back stop and frisk, all this and that. And I'm like, let's pump the brakes here. He's still a liberal Democrat from what I could tell. I don't see him really being a conservative. He's still a Democrat, running as a Democrat. He thinks he'll be able to push his brand of democratic governance better than Bill de Blasio. Not only push it, but actually implement it. He thinks he'll be better at being a Democrat than de Blasio, but obviously not, because Alvin Bragg became Manhattan's new district attorney. And Alvin Bragg is one of these guys that talks about not prosecuting a lot of crimes, zero bail, like really being soft on crime. Okay. And a side note, as I kind of digress a little bit, did you guys see Jen Psaki laughing about Jeanine Pirro talking about the soft on crime policies harming communities? She's laughing about it.
If you look at Fox on a daily basis, I mean, do you remember the 4 boxes that we had on all the TVs, right? Which is on my TV right now. So right now, just to give you a sense, so CNN, Pentagon, as many as 8,500 U.S. troops on heightened alert. Okay, true. Same on MSNBC. CNBC is doing their own thing about the market. And then on Fox is Janine Pirro talking about soft on crime consequences. I mean, what does that even mean?
People like that don't even understand what's happening in the country, let alone a place like New York City, Chicago, etc., Los Angeles, Philadelphia. They don't understand what's happening. So yeah, they're going to laugh it off. Alvin Bragg comes in and is pretty much doing what somebody like Jen Psaki would want, being soft on crime, not being tough on crime. And the same guy that said he would be tough on crime, that he'd be the guy that be able to get rid of a lot of this crime in New York City, bring things back maybe to even the Giuliani years. He said that he agrees with Alvin Bragg 100%. There's no kickback. There's no rebuke. There's nothing. He's like, look, I agree with Alvin Bragg. He's my man. Let's just hitch our wagons to Alvin Bragg. So all that tough on crime stuff, that was phony. That was just pandering, trying to get elected. Okay, you go in front of a black crowd talking about all these racial slurs, so you pandering to them, trying to get elected. You'll pretty much say anything that you need to say to get elected. So my question is, what is your platform really? I mean, who are you really for real, Eric Adams? You say certain things on the campaign trail just to get in power, but once you get there, you do different things. This is why people don't like politicians. They do and they don't like them, and I'll explain. But a lot of the leftist normies like empty questions. Well, not empty questions, but empty answers, not really answering, making you feel good, kissing the baby. That's all you got to do to get elected. And once you get there, you do whatever the people that got you there, as far as financially, you do what they tell you to do. You're pretty much an employee of outside companies. You're not beholden to your constituents. That's kind of what goes on in politics nowadays. That's why guys like Trump and many others who are not politicians, who are not driven by this political machine, that's why they were so attractive, because people just understood what was going on. It's like, these people aren't really here for us. They do whatever they told to do by others. If I go to him and say, hey, man, my streets are unsafe, please help, he'll say one thing to me right there, but then behind closed doors, he's getting with Alvin Bragg and they're letting violent criminal offenders off the hook with zero bail, no jail time, let alone penitentiary time. That's what's going on. So as I close, I want to say this. Don't trust these guys that say certain things. Look at their actions, because actions speak louder than words. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about your man Eric Adams in this really spicy, racially charged language? What if he were a white guy? What would be the reaction then? Where's the mainstream media? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is really typical of politicians and of the left. If you are a leftist, especially a black leftist, you could say and do whatever you want. If you are a white leftist and you're LGBT, you kind of have that same leeway. If you are a heterosexual white male, might as well just not even be conservative. You might as well not even be liberal, just be conservative, because they're going to frame you that way. That's what's going on. If you have any ounce of common sense, just join the right, because it's toast. Okay, you're pretty much a wrap. And if you are a heterosexual black male, like Eric Adams is, I presume, if you're like him and you don't want to bend to whatever they tell you to do, just go on to the right, because you have no home on the left. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.